Audiences love the concept of genre, categorizing art and communication by its similar traits. Many artists look down on the word and seek to create something independent of genre stereotypes. It is a badge of honor to create something that is as close to original as possible. Quentin Tarantino isn't quite interested in that style of filmmaking. A human encyclopedia who has devoured more films than you thought existed, Tarantino embraces the concept of genre. The genres of horror, sci-fi, action, drama, westerns, and crime all have identifying factors. They all have tropes. Whether it be a single woman surviving in a horror film, or an unarmed cowboy pumping enemies full of lead in a classic western.
Get 3 coffins ready.
These movies can be predictable and accessible to larger audiences. Within the depths of film genres, we discover the captivating art form that is the exploitation film. Bizarre tales of action, horror, and women in prison were created in an in-your-face style. Largely low budget, filmmakers were doing the best they could with the little that they had, and this often allowed them to take great risks. Extreme violence and generous amounts of sexual content gave the genre a lurid taste. Stories were often rather simple, with revenge films being straightforward and kinetic. In these movies, protagonists would mow through bad guys to get to a happy ending. Tarantino found interest in exploring the revenge film genre and pivoted to another story. Uma Thurman, who had been in Quentin's Pulp Fiction, was talking with the director about a character that they called the Bride.
I said, I'm thinking about doing another movie, Uma. You'd be terrific for it, is we do a revenge movie. Now, Uma Thurman did not grow up watching exploitation movies, to say the least. All right? I started describing it to her about you'd be the female assassin, you'd be the deadliest woman in the world, and these people have screwed you over, and you're going to track them all down and kill them and everything. And so we started web spinning. And as I'm describing it, like, well, the way they always start is they always start with a person lying there and they're beaten up and they've killed their family and the people are looking down at them and everything. And she goes, hey, Quentin, I have an idea. What about you see me, my face is all bloody, and then the camera pans back and you realize I'm in a bridal gown. And that's when The Bride was born.
The Bride was destined for tragedy. Who was behind the bloodshed? The opening of the film showcased the violent scene that the two collaborators have dreamt of, with a clear nod to who was responsible.
On the spot, he invented the arch nemesis, the agent of assassins, the ultimate pimp of assassins, sort of the Ovitzian, mass murderer.
The name was simple, but it was etched into the hearts of movie lovers everywhere. Bill.
Bill, in a way, is her, she was Bill's woman in a way. So, it's about love crime.
This was to be a revenge tale through and through. Our battered protagonist had only one goal. She was going to kill Bill. A captivating piece of Japanese cinema, Lady Snowblood was a big inspiration for Quentin. The story of a young woman destined to avenge her mother. The bloody samurai tale is full of cinematic beauty, violence, and wonder. Lady Snowblood served to be an ancestor for Uma Thurman's lethal protagonist.
But I was putting pressure on myself that people hadn't read a Quentin script in a long time. So the next one that came out, I had to be proud of it, and proud of it like a novel, not like a script. And I threw away all the script writing format crap and everything that I don't really like anyway, all right? And wrote it like a novel, all right?
And then the actual shooting of it basically ate about a year of my life, so.
Tarantino draws from a plethora of references, especially from samurai, kung fu, and Western films. The samurai genre, in and of itself, was influenced by the structure of American Westerns, especially films like that of John Ford. The hero with a sword follows a path not unlike the gunslingers of the West. Tarantino's love for spaghetti westerns is on full display in both Kill Bill 1 and 2. What makes the western exhilarating is its minimalistic form of storytelling. Sometimes it is a simple revenge film, or the story of a man who enters a lawless town and establishes order. But the simplicity of the time that it's in lends itself to a more straightforward story. Whether it be the Dollars trilogy, the original Django, or even Tarantino's own Django Unchained, the protagonist is usually fighting for a lost love, freedom, vengeance, or all of the above. Kill Bill is no different.
In genre filmmaking and exploitation films, they actually had more challenging, more powerful roles for women than even mainstream cinema, and the kind of the great roles of Pam Grier and this one and that one, and he started talking about revenge films.
The film begins not just with the loss of the bride, but of her unborn child.
Bill, it's your baby.
This is, of course, until we fast forward and discover that the bride has awoken from a 4-year coma. It seems like good news until Uma puts her hands on her empty belly. It is then that the true stakes of the film are set in stone. The motivations to go on a killing spree to avenge her lost child is more than enough to keep an audience interested.
I was able to do a thing where, like, revenge movies, well, you know, every third kung fu movie is a revenge movie, every third samurai movie, every third spaghetti western is a revenge movie, all right?
And yet, from that point on, Kill Bill is a joy to watch, a gleeful and bloody affair.
There is this kind of fun aspect where, at some point, but even way back when I was even talking about it with Uma, that this would be my exploitation movie, all right, where I empower it, and hopefully, you know, make other people see exploitation movies through my eyes.
You wanted to make the best exploitation movie ever.
Oh yeah, no, I wanted to make the big man movie with exploitation movies, all right?
The Bride's kill list creates an immediate structure that the audience can follow, except for the fact that it isn't told in order. We're here to watch her cross things off of her list.
So thus, I'm able to deal with all these different subgenres that I love and everything, all in the course of this one story. And each person on her death list, you know, whether it be Lucy Liu's Oren Ishii or Vivica Fox, and like brings the kind of Pam Grier movies into the film.
Right.
All right, each person kind of represents a different genre.
Right.
While Bill is the goal, Oren Ishii, the first name on the Bride's kill list, but not the first to be killed on screen, becomes the focus of Volume 1. It is a quest for the bride to obtain the knowledge and weaponry needed to kill one of the deadliest assassins in the world, who also helped take the life of her baby. It is a fast-paced bloodbath in the pursuit of the meeting of just two characters, sword to sword in the dark of night. Tarantino treats violence like an art in Kill Bill, with every drop of blood painting a canvas like a Jackson Pollock painting. There is a scene in which the bride must face a league of assassins called the Crazy 88. The Green Hornet-inspired army of suits bravely go into the breach and are mowed down by the bride. Blood sprays and shoots everywhere. It is reminiscent of the final scene in Sanjuro, when Toshiro Mifune slices a man with his sword, unleashing a powerful explosion of blood. It's like that scene times 1,000.
It was my chance to really prove to myself more than anybody else, to prove to myself that I'm a top director, that I can do action, because I've always considered action directors are like probably the greatest cinematic directors.
Tarantino was especially picky with the blood effects. It was paramount that the colors were right and the gushes grotesque.
No, I think that House of Blue Leaves fight sequence, that battle sequence at the end, is as good as anything I've ever seen action-wise.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, yeah.
In the House of Blue Leaves fight sequence, Tarantino cuts to stark black and white, allowing the MPAA to let him keep his fight scene intact with no censorship. The Japanese version is in color. Condoms with fake blood allowed for some of the gruesome effects. The anime sequence was inspired by an animated scene in a Bollywood film.
What's up?
Spaghetti Western style music bellows as we witness the death of Oren Ishii's family. Her life trajectory ironically follows the bride's vengeful vendetta.
At 25, she did her part in the killing of 9 innocent people, including my unborn daughter.
Over 450 gallons of fake blood was used. The use of color in Kill Bill is deliberate and unrelenting. Full of saturation, contrast, and primary colors, the characters and environments stand apart. The bride's canary yellow tracksuit is directly based on Bruce Lee's suit from Game of Death.
can write for her that willowy physicality she has. I mean, as I'm writing it, she's gonna look like the bomb in that yellow tracksuit. All right, I put her in Bruce Lee's tracksuit, all of a sudden it's not Bruce Lee's anymore.
In The Bride's showdown with the Crazy 88, there is a shot and action that directly mirrors Lee's. Quentin was curating his favorite aspects of all of these movies into the amalgamation that is Kill Bill.
He puts everyone through this incredible sort of film education of the things he's drawing from. You know, the movies we watched were extraordinary. He exposes you to all this stuff, and I absorbed it. I need to see his references, but at the same time, I felt that my job was to stay incredibly centered in the middle of his kind of cinematic genius mad creation and bring the humanity to the character.
In the final battle between the Bride and Oren Ishii, the entire aesthetic is inspired by the final fight in Lady Snowblood. As they battle to the death and red blood begins to stain the snow, there is a subtle but clever creative flourish that can go largely unseen. When Oren is hit by the Bride's swing of her sword, it's already anticipated that blood is beginning to drip. As a few beats go by with both fighters squaring off, the fountain nearby trickles water until it fills, and then cutting to Oren, we see the blood trickle down her ankle. The editing by Sally Menke is masterful in this sequence. Many poke holes at the lack of depth in these films, but if one understands its influences, it is clear that the simple stories are the lifeblood of the genres that the film incorporates. Tarantino was notorious for foregoing an official movie score in favor of curating and licensing other music. He enlisted the talent of RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan to produce the original soundtrack. In addition to digging for and curating the right soundtrack for the film, RZA also composed some original pieces for the film as well.
So that means that it ain't gonna just be a dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It could be chop, move, bong. You know what I mean? So when you watch that movie, you hear great musical pieces, but you also hear these fragments coming in.
Tarantino loves his characters, letting them live their lives and following with a pen.
The amazing thing of watching him write the script and, calling me up at all hours of the night or in the middle of dinner to read me the new scene, or, we spent a lot of time together. He would come to my place in the country and hang out under this tree and write, and then run into the kitchen and read it. And I got to sort of be inside the character as he was creating it. I got to sort of live with it for so long before we made the movie.
Tarantino does well in stacking his cliffhanger. By default, the fact that the bride didn't kill Bill was enough. But then to add that the bride's daughter is alive and with Bill, Tarantino was a master of raising the stakes. The Black Mamba raised hell to avenge her daughter's death, but suddenly the motivation has drastically pivoted. She now simply exists to save her daughter's life. Stay tuned for our video on Kill Bill Volume 2 as we explore more of Quentin Tarantino's bloody imagination.